Remo Stars carries 48 staff, 24 players in one away game against Sundowns. Why would South African government not deny people visa? Why? You know, you are not going there to play the game, you are going there for shopping. And some of these players, allegedly, they are going there to look big nyash. They are not serious. At home, Remo Stars, you lost 5-0 against Sundowns. And now, you are carrying 48 staff. 48 staff, 24 players, away game. So they are more staff than the players. Tinubu, why? See, we are not serious. See, I'm wearing Nigerian jersey. We are not serious. You are going away game. How many players is Sundowns took to Nigeria against Remo Stars? How many players? How many staff? Nigeria only want to carry the full Nigeria, abi? Want to carry the full Nigeria to South Africa, abi? This is embarrassing. That's why they deny some of the people visa. Tinubu.
South Africa have denied visa to 14 players of Remo Stars, according to sports presenter Charles Anazodo. Now, Charles is not happy, and he posted this earlier. He said 26 players went for the visa interview, only 12 were given visa, 14 were rejected, right? And he's not angry. A lot of people are also reacting online. You know, I don't think this is an issue. It's not an issue, right? If the team is not complete, they cannot play the match. So it is very simple. Remo Stars should communicate to CAF that look at what is happening. Their players, you know, are not being given visa. It is very simple. Just communicate to CAF, let them know. They cannot go to South Africa with 12 players to play a match. It is not possible mathematically. So they should simply communicate to CAF. If they will not be given visas, that match will be on hold. It will not be played. It's as simple as that. So I don't think all the reaction I'm getting, people are trying to react. No, it's not necessary. Remo Stars communicate to CAF. Look, your players wants to, you know, are planning to travel to South Africa for the second leg of their match with Mamelodi Sundowns, but they are not being given visa. Look at the situation. That is all.
Why is South Africa always rejecting us visa? Is it that their country is better than our own? Or their nationality? Because South Africa does not have our record. Why will South Africa be rejecting us visa? See, out of 43 people that applied for visa for Remo Star game, for the Champions League game they are playing, now only 26 members were approved. Why will South Africa be doing like this for us? That was what they did for that Super Eagles player that is playing in Russia, that they denied that guy visa and they did not allow that boy to play that game in South Africa that we played. Why South Africa people always doing like this? 43 people applied for visa for the game, and then you give them their visa, let them go for the game, and after the game they return. South Africa still rejected Remo Stars. We did not do this to Sundowns. We did not do this. It's Remo Stars that I blame. You were supposed to take Mamelodi Sundowns to Kano State to go and play that game. You put them in good hotel in Abeokuta. Take them to Kano State, so should burn their head.
To be very honest with you, yeah, I did not want to talk about this because I believe the match is done, it's gone, it's dusted. But then I cannot refuse a request from anybody in the comment section. So I've decided to talk about it. Remo Stars players visa denial. What happened? Well, there is a big misconception by a few people, if not many, that this happened in South Africa. It did not happen in South Africa. This visa denial happened in Nigeria, Lagos. But of course, this visa denial was done by the South African Consulate General in Lagos, Nigeria. Now, how did this happen? Now, you would think that Remo Stars submitted these visas for approval late. No. According to multiple credible sources, Remo Stars submitted application for these visas as early as 10th of October. And then out of 43 visa approval requests that was submitted, only 11 was approved initially. And then after a few talks, it was increased to 26. And out of that 26, only 12 were visas belonging to players. And that was when the whole thing, went viral. And club officials from Remo Stars felt like this might be a move to frustrate their efforts to playing a very good game against Mamelodi Sundowns in the second leg of the CAF Champions League. They aired out their opinion concerning that. And you can begin to understand why they would say that, because they had to cancel their flight. If those visas were approved early, they would not have cancelled that early flight. So they had to book a new one. But after all said and done, the visas were eventually approved. Remo Stars were able to travel to South Africa. And they faced Mamelodi Sundowns in the CAF Champions League second leg. Of course, they lost. Alright? But then that's not the bone of contention. I know you are waiting for my opinion about the matter. This is what I believe, and this is what I think. If there was no credible reason for denying those visas, why do it in the first place? If you know that you were going to approve those visas eventually, why deny them? These are the questions that I'm asking. Because I've not had any credible source coming out to say this is why these visas were denied. Nothing. So if there was no credible reason for denying those visas, then it wasn't fair. It really wasn't fair.
News coming from Nigeria is that the South African embassy apparently is frustrating the whole process for Remo Stars Football Club, who made visa applications on the 10th of October. 43 visa applications, and about 26 of those were denied. And of those 26 who were denied, 12 of them are the soccer players. Now, we don't want this to happen in Africa, but unfortunately this year is not a SAFA policy, it's not a Mamelodi Sundowns policy, but it's an immigration policy. Now, what's baffling the whole thing for me is that Remo Stars Football Club have known that they'll be traveling to South Africa for over a month. They just made the applications on the 10th of October. Why? Now, we are being told that 26 their visa applications were denied. What are the reasons? Whoever gave us this information, because I know Remo Stars has not communicated this to us. It's coming from a Nigerian journalist, but the Remo Stars have not said anything to us. Now the question is, will Remo Stars be traveling to South Africa or not? I mean, they cannot play if 12 of their players are not part of the squad. Now, what does Mamelodi Sundowns stand to benefit out of this? Because Mamelodi Sundowns players, football club, really would want this second leg to continue. I mean, Mamelodi Sundowns disjointed, dismantled, absolutely scattered these guys in the first leg, winning that game 1-5. Now, I want Remo Stars to come here. But if they don't have the proper documents or whatever requirements that are needed by the South African embassy, I don't think there's a shortcut to that. There's a shortcut to that. What's fun about this whole process is, if you watch a lot of these football content creators from Nigeria, I mean, there's multiple of them who said the Remo Stars players or even officials must be guarded and followed when they come to South Africa, because some of them, they might not even make the trip back. That's not coming from me. It's coming from the Nigerians themselves, that they suspect some of them might not even go back to Nigeria. So the due process by the embassy is made. What does the other side of Remo Stars players or officials not follow? It's we don't want Africa to be like this. That's why I am for visa-free traveling within the continent, but laws and rules must still be followed.
South Africa versus Nigeria, the rivalry that never fails to make headlines, even off the pitch. But this time it's not about goals or glory, it's about visas. Yes, visas. The whole internet is buzzing after reports that several Remo Stars players were denied visas to travel to South Africa for their CAF Champions League second leg against Mamelodi Sundowns. And the reactions online? Oh, they've been wild, hilarious, and heated. One Nigerian fan said, Raymond Stas carries 48 staff, 24 players in one away game. Why will South African government not deny people visa? Why? You're not going there to play the game, you're going there for shopping. That comment alone got thousands laughing. Another added, "At home, Remo Stars lost 5-0 to Sundowns, and now they want to carry 48 staff to South Africa. For what? You want to carry the whole Nigeria to South Africa, Abi?" And that right there, that mix of anger and comedy, sums up the internet's mood perfectly. Nigerians online were split between blaming the South African embassy and blaming their own club management. Some even joked that half the squad just wanted to use the trip as an opportunity to take Instagram pictures at the airport. But behind the laughter, there's actually a serious issue worth unpacking. Let's start with what really happened. According to multiple credible reports, Remo Stars submitted visa applications on October 10th to the South African Consulate General in Lagos. 43 applications were sent in. Out of those, only 11 were initially approved. After further talks, the number went up to 26, but only 12 of those were for players. The rest, denied. Naturally, chaos followed. The club had to cancel their flight, reschedule everything, and that's when social media erupted. Sports journalist Charles Anazotto confirmed that 14 players were refused visas, calling the situation unacceptable. He pointed out that Remo Stars made their applications early enough, and if there were any issues, they should have been informed well before their scheduled travel date. He wasn't the only one upset. Many Nigerian fans saw this as a form of unfair treatment from the South African authorities. But here's the twist. This didn't happen in South Africa. The visa denials happened in Nigeria, at the South African consulate in Lagos. So technically, this was not a decision made by the South African Football Association or by Mamelodi Sundowns. It was an immigration matter, plain and simple. Still, that didn't stop the conspiracy theories from flying around. Some fans speculated that maybe South Africa didn't want Remo Stars to show up fully prepared. Others said it was just typical bureaucracy. Now let's pause for a second. Why would a football team applying for visas to play a CAF Champions League game face so much drama? This isn't a music concert or a tourist trip. It's a continental competition. CAF fixtures require clubs to travel across Africa, and teams depend on embassies to facilitate that. When those systems fail, it doesn't just frustrate one team. It affects the credibility of African football. Some South Africans online also jumped into the conversation, defending their country's immigration process. One said, "This isn't about football. If the players didn't meet visa requirements, then that's on them." Another added, "We've seen cases where players overstay or disappear after games. The embassy is just being cautious." And that's actually a valid point. South African embassies, like many others, have become strict about issuing visas because of previous incidents where travelers didn't return. But then again, others argued that this is exactly why Africa needs to move toward visa-free travel for sports teams and professionals. Football is supposed to unite us, not divide us with paperwork. When players and staff face these kinds of issues, it slows down the growth of the game on the continent. After all the chaos, Remo Stars finally got their visas and made it to South Africa, though later than planned. They eventually played the match and, unfortunately, they lost to Mamelodi Sundowns. But by that point, the story wasn't even about the scoreline anymore. It was about what had happened before kickoff. Online, the debate got deeper. Some fans said Remo Stars were unprofessional for applying late, although that claim was proven false since they applied weeks before. Others said it was just bad luck or a case of too many people traveling. Remember, this club reportedly tried to take 48 staff members plus 24 players. That's 72 people in total. Even fans couldn't help but laugh at that number. One person commented, "Remo Stars just wanted to carry the whole Ogun state to South Africa." There were even funny suggestions that the team should have hosted the first leg of the match somewhere far like Kano State, just to give Sundowns a taste of what travel stress feels like. Nigerians really know how to find humor in every situation. Still, beyond the jokes, this whole issue exposes something serious: the struggle of African clubs in international tournaments. While European teams hop between countries freely, African clubs are still battling visa denials, travel delays, and logistical nightmares. It's not just embarrassing, it's a setback for the entire sport in Africa. If we want CAF competitions to be respected globally, then basic things like player travel should never be a problem. There should be special sports visa arrangements between African countries to prevent these kinds of situations. Because in the end, it doesn't just hurt one team, it hurts the spirit of African unity. So, what's the takeaway here? For one, Remo Stars could have avoided some of the mockery by limiting the size of their traveling squad. 48 staff? That's more than most Premier League teams travel with. But on the other hand, the South African consulate also needs to handle sports-related visas with more urgency. There has to be a balance between security and practicality. Many Nigerians still feel that their athletes and citizens face unnecessary scrutiny when visiting South Africa, and that frustration is understandable. But blaming the entire country or Sundowns for an embassy decision isn't fair either. This is an African system problem, one that needs fixing. By the end of the saga, both teams got to play, but the noise online didn't stop. People kept debating, laughing, analyzing, and turning the whole thing into a continental conversation about football politics, travel policies, and even national pride. And you know what? Maybe that's not such a bad thing. Because if there's one thing this story shows, it's that Africans care deeply about their football. Whether they're laughing at 48 staff members shouting Tinubu in frustration, or questioning immigration fairness, it all comes from a place of passion. So next time you see a team struggling with visas, just remember, somewhere online, someone is already turning it into a comedy skit. But underneath that laughter lies a truth Africa can't keep ignoring. Until we make it easier for Africans to move freely across their own continent, football will keep fighting unnecessary battles off the pitch. And that, my friends, is the real lesson behind Remo Stars' visa saga.